There is a particular kind of person who moves through life convinced they are not intelligent. They say things like, "I'm just not a smart person," or "I was never good at school," or "some people are just born with it and I wasn't one of them." And in saying this, they feel a strange comfort, because if intelligence is something you are born with, then the absence of it is not your fault. You are off the hook. You never have to try. But that is precisely the lie that keeps most people intellectually asleep for their entire lives. Intelligence is not a fixed quantity sealed inside you at birth. It is not a gift handed out unevenly by genetics or luck or the school you attended. Intelligence, in the deepest philosophical sense, is a practice. It is a discipline. It is, above all else, a choice. And it is a choice that most people, consciously or not, refuse to make. The ancient Greeks had a concept they called eudaimonia. It is often translated as happiness, but that translation is too shallow. A better translation is flourishing, the full actualization of what a human being is capable of becoming. Aristotle believed that what separates humans from animals is our capacity for reason, and he believed that a life not spent cultivating reason is a life not fully lived. He was not talking about academic intelligence. He was not talking about memorizing facts or passing examinations. He was talking about something far more demanding, the daily, deliberate effort to think clearly, question deeply, and understand truly. That effort is the choice, and most people never make it. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you sat with a difficult idea and refused to let it go until you understood it? When did you last read something that genuinely challenged the way you see the world? When did you last change your mind about something important, not because someone pressured you to, but because the evidence and the reasoning were simply better than your previous belief? If you are struggling to answer those questions, you are not alone. But you should sit with that discomfort, because discomfort is the beginning of intellectual growth. Schopenhauer wrote that intellect is invisible to the man who has none. What he meant is this: the person who does not think cannot perceive the depth of their own failure to think. Ignorance is not painful, it is seamless. It wraps around you without edges, and because you cannot feel where it begins, you assume it is not there. The intellectually passive person does not know they are passive. They simply believe the world is roughly as complicated as it appears to them. This is perhaps the most dangerous condition a human being can be in. Now, here is where the choice comes in. Most people, when they encounter an idea that unsettles them, do one of three things. They dismiss it, they mock it, or they scroll past it. These are not acts of stupidity, they are acts of protection. The mind, left undisciplined, seeks comfort. It seeks confirmation. It builds walls around existing beliefs and calls those walls common sense. The intelligent person, the person who has made the choice, does something different. They pause. They lean in. They say, "What if this is true? What would that mean? What am I not seeing here?" This is called intellectual humility, and it is the single most important quality that separates genuinely intelligent people from merely confident ones. History is full of confident people who were catastrophically wrong. It is also full of quiet, humble thinkers who changed everything. Intelligence is also deeply connected to attention. We live in an era that is at war with your attention. Every platform, every notification, every algorithmically designed feed is pulling at you, fragmenting your focus, training your mind to skim rather than to dive. And a mind that only skims cannot think deeply. It can only react. Deep thinking requires stillness. It requires the willingness to be bored, to sit with a question that has no immediate answer, to let an idea breathe and develop inside your mind before you judge it. This is extraordinarily difficult in the modern world, which is precisely why it is so rare, and why those who cultivate it hold such an extraordinary advantage. The philosopher Blaise Pascal once wrote that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. He wrote that in the 17th century. He could not have imagined the smartphone, but he understood the fundamental restlessness of the undisciplined mind with terrifying accuracy. Let me be direct about something. Becoming more intelligent does not mean reading every philosophy book ever written. It does not mean using complex vocabulary or winning arguments. Those are performances of intelligence, and performances are the enemy of the real thing. Genuine intelligence is about the quality of your thinking, not the appearance of it. It is about catching yourself making assumptions and questioning them. It is about being slower to conclusion and faster to curiosity. It is about consuming ideas across different disciplines and noticing the patterns that connect them. It is about asking why more than you ask what. A person who reads widely, thinks slowly, speaks carefully, and holds their beliefs loosely is far more intellectually powerful than the person who is merely quick, clever, or well-credentialed. And now the most important part. You are already capable of this. Not a future version of you, not a you that has taken a course or bought a program or fixed some flaw. You right now have the same fundamental cognitive machinery as the greatest thinkers in human history. The difference between you and them is not raw capacity. The difference is what they chose to do with their minds every single day, over years and decades. They chose to read when it was easier not to. They chose to question when agreement was more comfortable. They chose to sit with uncertainty rather than grab for false clarity. They chose again and again and again to take their own thinking seriously. That choice is available to you. It has always been available to you. Intelligence is not something you have. It is something you do. It is a verb disguised as a noun. And every single day, you're either moving toward it or away from it. Through what you read, what you question, what you tolerate in your own thinking, and what you refuse to accept without examination. Most people will watch this video and feel inspired for a few minutes and then return to exactly what they were doing before. That is the comfortable path, and there is no judgment in it. It is deeply human, but some of you will feel something shift. A quiet recognition that you have been coasting on the surface of your own mind, and you will make a different choice. Aristotle believed that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, it is a habit, and so is intelligence. The question is not whether you are intelligent enough. The question is whether you are willing enough. That answer is entirely up to you.